Hello and welcome to the Common Sense SEO show. It's March 2020 and I don't know what the actual show number is, I'm afraid, but March is good enough because we seem to be slacking a bit these days and just putting out one a month or so like that. But the main thing is we're here again and we've got some great content for you today. We try and deliver, we try and bring you the best, all the latest news and stuff like that. So let's hope we deliver today. I know we've got a good show lined up for you. First off, though, let's hand over to Henrik for a bit of housekeeping, please.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the show. March show, as Tony said, can everybody see the screen and can everybody hear us? So give me a one down in the... Yep. So good morning. So we are there. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want notifications of the next shows coming up, and we have a plan for lining some very interesting stuff up here in the next couple of shows. So back over to Tony.
Okay, yeah, before we sort of go into the demonstration and introduce the guests, I just want to say, firstly, I apologize for saying the show was at 10:30 because apparently you guys are already in summer, and I feel like we are here, actually, because the sun's shining down on me in the corner of my room here. But yeah, you guys are already in, or the guys over in America are already over into summertime, and so I believe it's 11:30 for you over there. So apologies for that. Apologies for anybody who's been waiting an hour already. But anyway, I seem to get this wrong every year, and this year was no exception. Right, so a very brief backdrop, because I don't want to keep you all waiting. I know I see in the chat groups quite a lot. The people are often, when they're trying to make money out of SEO, they're trying to look around and they're trying to say, look, how do we make money? One way or the other. It's all right knowing everything you need to know about SEO, but you've got to make money out of it. And I mean, over the past couple of years, we've worked with local clients doing SEO, local businesses, and if you're into that sort of market, it's hard work. It's so you've got to over deliver, undercharge, and it can be a real slog to make a worthwhile income from your SEO knowledge in local business, getting local business clients and everything else. So anyway, over the past few months, I've been busy diving off down different rabbit holes and everything else, and looking into side hustles or the ways that I can monetize my life, whatever my revenue generation, shall we say. One of those avenues took me down to e-commerce, and plus also I've been putting up a lot of little supporting websites as well, like the PBN type things where I can feed back into the e-com stores, get a broader understanding of the topic that I'm targeting, and try and drive traffic back to the e-com stores to make money. Basically, that's what it's all down to. And again, what I'm finding then was that I go off, I find a product, and I think this is a great idea. I'm going to build an e-com empire around this product. But of course, then it's no good knowing everything about SEO if you don't know enough about the product. So then I have to go on another research kick to learn all about the product. So here we go, down content, discovering content, and then using that content to drive traffic. And this is one of the key things. Now, I know at the very basic end, you've got all the spinning and whatever, spinning and spamming. I think the word Henrik just used a phrase earlier on today. You've got this sort of mentality where you can turn out absolute garbage, fill out a PBM site. The trouble is what is that worth? If you're gonna actually turn around and make some worthwhile revenue out of ecom, you need to be pushing decent content. You need to understand the market. So how do we get that knowledge? How do we get that hold of that content? Where do we find it from, and where do we do research? A few weeks ago, I think it was in Terry's group, actually, if Terry's on today, somebody mentioned Frase. I'd not come across that one before, so off I went looking to see what there was all about. And along the way, I got to speaking with the guest today, who is Matt Hurley. Are you there, Matt?
I'm here.
Hello and welcome to the show, and thanks very much for being here an hour early, as it turns out.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hand you over to Matt. I mean, Matt is one of the I didn't actually know what your role was over there. Yeah, what is your role over at Frase?
Director of Growth.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's a good title. So Matt is Director of Growth over at Frase, and well, anyway, I'm going to leave all of that for him to show what the tool is all about. But needless to say, I've looked at the tool, we've played with the tool, both Henrik and I have, and it's got some definite benefits, and we thought it was really worthwhile as bringing this product out to you guys so you can see what it's all about. And so I think at that point, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to hand over to Matt. He's got a bit of a presentation, and then we can cycle back round, bit of questions and answer, and see where we end up. Henrik, do you want to just add anything before we hand over to Matt? He's gone quiet, so probably not. He's got his microphone turned off, I guess. So
sorry, I almost muted.
Yeah.
No, let's dive into it and see what Matt has for us today.
Yeah, he was being polite. He was asleep. So, Matt, yes, thank you. Welcome to the show, and I'll let you hand over and give us if that's the way you want to fly with it. Just give us a quick overview of what Frase can do for us.
Great. So, welcome everyone. My name is Matt Hurley. I'm, as was mentioned, the Director of Growth at Frase, which is a Boston-based artificial intelligence company that helps marketing agencies, freelancers, in-house SEOs, and entrepreneurs like some of you create high-quality content much faster. As Tony mentioned, one of the biggest blockers to creating content that helps you make money off of sort of SEO and content creation is the time spent researching. And so what Frase has essentially done is it's created a tool that uses artificial intelligence to vastly speed up the time required to research a high quality piece of content so that you can turn around content much faster than if you were left to your own devices. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. So let's see. Hopefully that's working now. And so now that we're in the Frase platform, I'm going to show you just a couple tips and tricks that I use and our hundreds of customers use to accelerate the speed at which they can create high quality content. So the first thing I'm going to show you is something called a document. So in Frase, what a document is, well, there are three different types of documents. There's a content brief, there's a content optimization document, and there's a content curation document. And we'll quickly take a look at each of these. But first, let's start with the content brief. So if we wanted to create a content brief, what all good content research starts with, it all starts on Google, right? You input a search query, you get some research back, and that's where you start. So similarly, if we wanted to write an article about, let's say, SEO, you might start here, what is SEO? And with one click, we can start generating that content outline or that content brief, which takes a few seconds. And what Frase is doing right now is it's searching Google for this phrase. It's returning the top 20 results. It's analyzing those results. It's automatically using artificial intelligence to summarize those results. And it's compiling a content outline or a content brief for us so that we don't have to do it manually. So here we are in our automatically generated content brief on our left. But before we jump into that, I want to show you what we have on our right. So on our right are the sources that Frase used to generate this content brief. So if you look through here, you can click on them, and you can see that Frase automatically summarizes the content of these sources so that you can sort of look through here and see what they're all about, see what's interesting, see what's not interesting, so that you can get an idea of what you want to include and maybe what you want to exclude from your article. So then we go back over to our content brief, and this is broken into automatically different sections for our use. So the first section is, an overview, which summarizes the brief, the sources of our process, the average length per source, that sort of thing. It will show you the sources and a summary of those sources. It will show you topics. So the most similar topics to your search query, which again is, what is SEO? The most frequent topics to your search query, the least frequent topics, highlights for those topics, and summaries. It will show you competitor subsections, and your competitors, again, are the sources that Frase is using to summarize this content brief. Some top statistics that you can easily just pull out and plop into an article, and links for backlinking purposes. So the nice thing about this content brief is that it's 100% editable. So if I look through here and I say, you know what, that's not relevant, I don't like that, you can quickly delete it. You can also add whatever you want. Hello, it's think of it as almost like a Google Doc or Microsoft Word document, completely editable and formattable any way you want. You know, generally speaking, our customers use this tool in one of two ways. Either they will generate a brief automatically and then export it via a Microsoft Word document or a Google document and send it to a writer to create content off that content brief, or they'll just create a full document in here. They might say, nope, I don't want these. You know, I want to add something else. Maybe they look over here. That, you know, the nice thing about this is you can add these things with one click. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this. So here they are now. So it's very easy to mix and match content until you have a fully curated article that's using the power of AI to optimize itself. Then when you're done creating a full article here, you can also export this and publish it directly to a WordPress site, which is nice as well. So this is a content brief tool. And once you've created that content, what you can do then is make sure it's optimized for SEO. As was mentioned before, it's very easy to create low quality content, but that content does not perform well. And so if you want to make money off this, you're going to need to make sure that the content you are creating performs well. And so the way you can do that is, again, in the documents side, what you can do is you can create a content optimization document. And so the way this works is you can use the same search query. So if we were saying, you know, what is SEO, stick with this theme, and we can pull a URL that we've published. So let's say, you know, just for the sake of argument here, let's say we're using, you know, this article on Google. I don't know. Let's use a different one. Let's use, I think I've read this guy before, Backlinko. So let's say we pull this URL off Google just as an example, and we throw it in here. This is a URL that we want to optimize. What Frase is then going to do is it's going to compare the URL that we've provided it to the top performing articles that are related to the content in that URL. So in other words, it's going to show you how your content is performing compared to your competitors' content. Now, this is really valuable because it's going to allow us to sort of quickly look through here. So here's our document, right? We just pulled this off of Google. Frase has entirely crawled it and consumed it, and now it's in our editor. But even more helpful, on the right here is sort of a paint by numbers tool to identify the topics and keywords that we need to include in this article in order to improve its ranking. What's more, Frase was also using a proprietary algorithm to give us a topic score, essentially scoring the quality of our content. Now, we have a very, very high score, which is not surprising because we pulled it from the first page of Google. But what you can see also is that compared to our competitors, we're about 3 times better. So this is a great article. But even so, if you look at this paint by numbers tool down here, you can see all the different topics that we're suggesting to add if you want to improve the quality of our article. So for example, if we look through here, we can see that, okay, we've mentioned bounce rate 0 times. Our competitors are mentioning it an average of 3 times. So there's a big opportunity there. Now, on the other hand, we've mentioned link building 16 times and search result 23 times. We can probably lay off on mentioning those keywords, or even reduce the number of times we mention those keywords in the article, because as we all know, mentioning a certain keyword too frequently can also hurt our ranking. So Frase is sort of giving us this very clear roadmap to improving the performance of this article. And what we can do is go in here. We can say something about broken links are bad. We can rerun our topic score, and we might go from 98% to 99%. So you can sort of see your topic score improve in real time. The other thing you can do with this document is you can actually get into the minds of your competitors. So you can see the headings that your competition is using, so that if you say, hey, you know what, looks like Moz looks like Backlinko is mentioning how SEO works. That's a really good thing. I'm going to add that to my document, and there it goes. Or I want to add organic versus paid results, and there it is. Let's turn this into a header, and now we're starting to create content to address this topic. But even better than the headings topic, Frase has a questions tool, which is unique to Frase. And no one else in the industry does this. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to see all of the questions that people are asking on internet forums that are related to your topic of interest. So the benefit of this is, if you think of these people, the people that are asking and answering these questions as your audience, the whole idea here is, if you understand the questions that your audience is asking, you can create content that answers those questions. And that content is going to be naturally engaging. It's going to perform well by having high click-through rates, high time on page, all those good SEO metrics that improve your ranking. And what's more, it's probably going to just be much more engaging content for your audience. So if we wanted to look through here, we might say, hey, you know what? I want to really talk about, what is SEO and why do SEO? We've automatically added that to our document, and we can start creating an answer to that question in this brief. So this is a really valuable tool to understand your content, how it's performing, and how to improve its performance compared to your competitors. So that's a content optimization tool. The last thing I want to show you, the last document type I want to show you, is called content curation. And so this tool is really for the content purists out there. So if we said, what is SEO, just sticking with the theme here, what will happen here is Frase will essentially bring a Microsoft Word document and Google into the same window for you. So you can look through here and you can say, yep, I want to add this, I want to add this, I want to add this. Neil Patel, he usually knows what he's talking about. Let's add this, let's add this. Oh, here's a good statistic. We'll add this. All of a sudden, maybe we add some headers in here. Turn those into H3s, right? All of a sudden, you're starting to create your own content brief instead of relying on AI to do it for you. So this is another easy way to speed up the rate at which you can churn out the research necessary to create high quality content. So that's the content documents. I'm also going to show you a couple other things that will help with ideation, specifically around content creation. So I want to skip down to this tool called the questions tool. So if we look in here, the questions tool is remarkable because it connects to your Google Search Console. And so for those of you that manage websites, you know that the Google Search Console is an invaluable resource for identifying the search queries that people are asking that bring them to your website. So what Frase does is it separates out question-specific search queries so that you can see the types of questions people are asking when they show up to your site. Now, the benefit of this is you can say, hey, you know what? A lot of people are asking about what is the keyword difficulty in SEO. A lot of impressions. I need to create some content that will address this question because I know that it will be engaging content and that my audience wants to read about it. So what you can do is with one click, you can go in and you can generate a content brief with this question as a search query. So just like I showed you a minute ago, you can go from having no content about this question to having an AI-generated content outline in about 5 seconds. So this is a remarkable tool that gives you a crystal ball-like insight into the intent and the interests of your or your client's audience. So this is a really valuable tool. And the other nice thing is that Frase allows you to cluster those topics, or those questions rather, into different topics. So you can see how, you know, Frase is essentially grouping featured questions about featured snippets into one featured snippet topic, or Google Search Console into one Google Search Console topic. This gives you a really high-level overview of the interest and intent of your audience so that you can create content to engage them. The next thing I want to show you is the monitors tool, which works very similarly to Feedly or Google Alerts, but the difference is that you can select topics to monitor and also the sources that you want to monitor. So for example, you can see I've created a monitor here about artificial intelligence. Now to create this monitor, I've only selected sources that I trust. So the benefit of this is, instead of just having anything related to AI show up in my email inbox, I only am showing content that I respect and that I know is accurate. And the benefit of this also that's unique to Frase is that with one click, I can get a quick summary of these articles. So I can quickly click through here and see, okay, is this interesting or is it not? If it is interesting, I have a couple cool options. I can, with one click, share it via social media. I can add it to a newsletter very quickly, in case you run newsletters, regular newsletters, or I can add it to the document that I just created. What is SEO? You know, we'll add this summary to the document. This is a really good way to repurpose articles that are being published and use it in a document that you're creating about a certain topic. And I know we also mentioned sort of spinning it and spinning content and resharing it. While that's not always a good idea, sometimes it can be an effective strategy. You can republish this content via an RSS feed very quickly as well with Frase. So if you wanted to create and maintain an article about a website, about artificial intelligence, and just populate it with this high quality content, you can do that with about 3 clicks as well from Frase. So that's the monitors tool. Let's take a look at the last content tool that I'm going to talk about today, and that's the concept map. The concept map is a tool that helps you in the ideation phase. Let's say you have a client that wants you to write about Australian beaches. Now, I've never been to Australia. I don't know anything about the beaches there. What Frase will do is it will connect to the Wikipedia knowledge graph, and it will automatically create this nice visualization that shows us categories related to Australian beaches and the topics related to those categories. So really quickly, I can look through here and I can get a list of the northern beaches of Australia. But let's say I wanted to dig even deeper. I can go from knowing nothing about the northern Australian beaches, or the Australian beaches of northern Australia, and I can look and see, okay, what's the Manly Council? What's that topic? What does that have to do with this? And it will sort of reformat itself with new categories and new topics, and it will automatically summarize the Wikipedia article about the Manly Council. So I can quickly read through this. I can say, yep, that's relevant. I want to write about this. I can go and create a content brief off that. Within 5 seconds, I can have a fully generated content outline about a topic that I previously didn't know existed. So this is also a really helpful tool if you want to start with ideation and start your content workflow from there. So in general, these content tools are really everything that you need to speed up the research and the ideation aspects of content creation, so that you can be sure that all the content you're creating is high quality, is topically relevant, is optimized to perform, without spending tons of hours and hours researching, writing, and optimizing content on your own. It takes the guesswork out of SEO quality SEO content, and lets you focus on being creative and doing what presumably you do best, which is writing. So in a nutshell, that's Frase. That's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. Happy to take any questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Cool, Matt. That was awesome. One question: in the monitor, the quote-unquote feeds, can you limit the extraction of it, or i.e., if you want to auto-post something, could you say, I want, let's say, 300-word article out of that?
So the question is, could you limit the length of the article that's republished? Yeah. So you can do that.
You can do it manually, but there's no way to set the summary, for example, to be a 300-word character.
I see. I understand.
300-word.
No, there's no way to limit the summary. Frase is essentially looking through that and determining what the most relevant aspects of that article are, and that's how it generates the summary. Some summaries will be very short. Most are under 300. Maybe that's not right. Most are pretty short. But what you can do is you could look through your feed and you can say, I want to republish this summary. I don't want to republish this summary. And you can do it that way.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking is that many local SEO agencies are looking for content for the GMB post.
Sure.
And
I see.
if you could, let's say, automate that process a little bit, but you can do it, let's say, manually. That's no big deal. But I just thought if there was some kind of a small tweak you could make, and then have a, let's say, about 300 words summary out there. But you can do it manually, so no problem. The most important part is that you're getting quality content. That's the most important part of it.
Yeah, it looks like there's some questions about how to sign up for a trial versus scheduling a demo. If you go to the Frase website, you can sign up for a free trial. It's Frase.io. So you can create up to 5 documents, which is what I just showed you, and you can use the other tools, monitors, concept map and questions tool as much as you want.
That's cool.
And if you click on the link that was provided, you should be able to navigate back to the Frase homepage, and that's where you can sign up for a trial. Any other questions?
No further questions. Not so far. So could you tell us what kind of pricing is it for per month or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pricing depends on the features that you want to use. The ones that I just walked through are are all included in our basic plan, which is $39 a month.
How much? Sorry.
$39 a month.
39. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and then there are some other advanced features that I didn't walk through yet today. If you're interested, just send me an email at Hurley, Hurley @frase.io. Happy to dive deeper into some of the more advanced tools. Some really interesting tools around auditing entire websites, running competitive analyses, that sort of thing, which are part of our what we call the growth package.
Okay. That's cool.
Sure.
So comments, very cool. Thank you, Matt. No questions.
Sure.
So these are an extremely intelligent group we have here. Apparently, no questions.
No worries. Yeah. If anybody has any questions in the future, feel free, like I mentioned, feel free to just shoot me an email, Hurley@frase.io. Happy to answer them via email, or to jump on another quick call and show you some other helpful tips and tricks with Frase.
Or Matt, we can just put them here in the below the video, and we will pick up on it, and we'll forward any questions to Matt, if that's. And this is question from Martin Kindle. Is it also available in the German language?
We only support English right now, but we're working on expanding to other languages.
Tut mir leid, Matt.
What's that?
Say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hopefully, something in German. Anyway.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Ah, sorry, I seem to have lost my microphone for a while then, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm back. Thank you. One of the things I sort of said a little while ago was that the monitor tool, I'm presuming, or is it not? Is it deliberately missing your content, or would it, if your content is as good as it declares it is, then surely your content should appear on that monitor, or would it just overlook your own
for the
content?
monitor tool, you can actually select the sources that you want to monitor. So assuming that if you have high quality content and it is showing up as a potential source, assuming that you don't want to monitor your own content, you could just opt to not monitor that content. So unlike Feedly or Google Alerts, which don't allow you to sort of narrow in on the sources that you're monitoring, Frase allows you to do so. So you won't be spammed or annoyed by monitoring content that you already wrote. That would be.
I was just thinking it would be almost like proof that the content was good enough to turn up again.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if it shows up as a source with Frase, that basically means Frase found that content and considers it reputable and relevant.
Yeah. So that's good.
You're ranking top one on page one, Tony. So you would show up, right?
Well, that's what I was just wondering. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it could actually manage to create an SEO article that could outrank Neil Patel and Brian Dean of Backlinko. Because I mean, his articles are about 30,000 words long, aren't they? I think Brian Dean's. They seem to be. Yeah, they go on forever, don't they? They go on for. You have to put a week aside to read them.
He has a strategy of using skyscraper content because that will. I don't know if you call I showed a page in a previous show about drones, where they have guides which was extremely long, and where they use H1 tags as section header within the document, and they rank quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does this actually suggest about the headings? Does it give any suggestions about? I know you mentioned about dragging the headings over, but you're doing that manually. I mean, does it sort of suggest that whether you should have H1s, H2s, H3s, etc.?
So it doesn't give header suggestions yet, though the product team is working on that. Right now, we're more focused on AI-powered research and less focused on making content suggestions. I think our CEO is generally pretty skeptical when artificial intelligence tools say that they can create content. And so we've positioned ourselves to be more of a tool that can help inform humans to create content rather than just generate it for you. And suggestions are sort of, sort of wade into that gray area a little bit of research versus creation.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the first one I did, one of the really good things about it, when I did a search for a topic and I got this big sheet full of all these answers and everything. I mean, I must admit, I exported it the first time and I was just looking at this mass of just snippets, and it was like, and I didn't know where one ended and the next one started, and it was just like this wall of words. But now seeing what you've explained there, it's going to make that a lot easier. I now know what's going on. But the good thing about it also is that you're actually seeing where you're getting the links as well. So you're actually finding outbound authoritative links that you can use in your content. That's the other thing.
Right.
So it's not just the content. You can see who the authoritative sources are easily, and these outbound links are very, very important in SEO, of course. Yeah. So that's another thing. There's always lots of hidden gems all around the place, and I like the questions and answers stuff. That's really good. I mean, is that going into like does that go into Reddit or anything like that?
Yep, Reddit, Quora,
Yahoo Answers, is it?
Yeah, lots of forums we crawl and can consume all of that information.
Yeah, because
can you add your own forums?
No, you can't add your own forums at this time. No, you can't add your own forums.
Okay. You might think that if there was a special niche you were interested in and you didn't have questions and they didn't pop up on those normal available forums, that you might be able to add one.
Are structured in a way. So, I mean, you can add sources to crawl. So if you don't see a source via the monitor, you can add one just by adding the RSS feed essentially as a source.
Okay.
I wonder if you could do something similar for the forums potentially. I'd have to talk to the engineers. It might not be difficult to add.
Yeah, so you could just go. You could add the RSS. So you could just go over to Google, do a search for feed burner in the topic that you want, and just take the top 10 or something like that and pull that.
That'd be an interesting hack. I think you can do that. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone doing it, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't think we'd prevent them from doing it.
That's good. That's good. Well, any questions out there, Henrik?
Yeah, Ran is asking, can you spin the content?
Yeah, no, we're not a content spinner.
No, but you can take it out and go pass it through to spin rewrite or something like that.
No, this is something else. Sorry. I was going to say, this is something I was thinking about the other day, you know, this spinning. Now, I don't know, if you're going to take all this quality content and then spin it, there's a fair chance that you're losing what Google saw in that content in the first instance. And I know you can protect your keywords so that they stay, so the ratio, the frequency stays the same, sort of. But other than that, I mean, you're potentially affecting your sentiment words and all the different triggers that Google are looking for SEO. And so a spun sentence might not have anywhere near the value. I don't mean for readability. I just mean in the eyes of Google, let's say. Does it still maintain the value that it had to get that page to number one or whatever in the first instance? I don't know. I'm a bit sort of. It might be worth testing that actually.
I think most people are overspinning, to be honest, rather than curate. If you look at all the newspapers, they take content from each other. They put their own little tweak to it. They don't spin it.
And that's what I would say. Yeah,
they have robots that's going in and take data information from company registers and things like that, but they don't spin it. They curate it.
And I think you're better off going in there and actually just giving it that manual review. And this is the thing, you know, if it's worth gathering the content for, you've got to give things, you've got to give things that just bit of TLC, haven't you? You've just got to spend that moment just reading over it, glance over it. Does it make sense? And when you're doing that, you can just do a couple of tweaks. You can just change a couple of words to make it flow easier, make it make more sense. But the original content is staying fundamentally the same, and you're maintaining the same sort of value to that content. That's how I see it. I'm not saying I'm right. That's just how I figure it out. That's how I feel. And I would always go, and this is the thing with the ecom that I'm doing now. I know that I can't just put spun stuff up there. I have to go over it manually, whether that's me being a pedant for more accurate English or what. But I just think that if the site is worth, if it's going to return your money, it's got to be worth that couple of minutes just to go over and do a manual review. And that's the difference between sort of churning out some garbage for a PBN site 3 tiers out, or some social posts or whatever, and creating quality content to get you to page 1. Because in fairness, you're not necessarily going to be wanting to rank your PBN, your spun stuff up at number 1 on Google. It's your money sites that you want to be getting up there, and so when you're getting very close to your money site or in your money site, then you need to be giving it that extra care and attention. I believe. Rant over.
We know that Google likes, let's say, thematic relevant content like in correlation to the query. So if you spawn gibberish, they will just ignore you.
But
if you have quality, thematic, relevant content, then you have done your job.
Yeah, but it's even with the sentiment words, isn't it? Because if you use the certain sentiment words, that if you're pushing a lawyer's site, you might not use the terms I don't know, best, or you might, but you know what I mean. There's certain sentiment words that go with lawyer or go with, greengrocer. You might have a best greengrocer, but you'd probably want the I don't know. There's other words. There's certain words that go with certain others that make more sense. There's certain sentiment words and things like that. And when you spin, they're the words that are going to get spun out of context, and you're going to lose a lot of that semantic the sentiment relevancy. As well. So I'd be a bit careful about that. Depends on how close to your money site you are. But if you're using this tool, I would suggest that you're probably going to be doing it fairly close to your money site.
Yeah, and then it's quite easy, as Matt showed, that you can quite fast generate some exceptional good content. If you've done a little bit of your proper keyword research first, then you know what you're aiming at, and then it's quite easy to do some quite good content.
And have you got anything to add to that, Matt? To that thought?
No, I would say I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Research has indicated that when it comes to SEO quality, 98% of the content on the internet doesn't have any backlinks, and that is a huge problem, but also a huge opportunity. Because if you can create high quality content that's topically relevant, it'll perform well. You will outperform your competitors. And the place that you need to start if you want to create quality content is you need to do or collect. And that Frase helps you do. It's not about generating content with the click of a button. This isn't a get rich. This is a tool that uses the most recent advances in artificial intelligence to collect and synthesize really high quality research. Can take that research and apply a human touch to it to make quality content.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to play a bit more with this because it definitely fits what I'm looking for at the moment.
I think it's a perfect tool for everybody who wants to write some quality content for their money sites. So no more questions up there. So Matt, thank you very much for being with us today. And
thank you very much.
If comments comes in the thousands, we will call you for an extra show.
And I think there are links down there, aren't there? And as Matt says, he did sort of suggest he said his email. Oh, I think we're breaking up a bit there. Yeah, he mentioned his email that you can contact him if you want. And I hope you got some benefit out of today. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Matt. It's been good to learn about the tool. And I'll pass you back over to Henrik as my job is done.
Yeah, okay, Tony. Thank you very much. And guys, remember to give a thumb up in the below the video. Put in any questions, any comments that you have in relations to the topic here that Matt showed us today, and we will try to either answer them or get some answers for you, and see you on the next show. Have a nice one. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.